There we go. I think I got it loose now. All right, and there we are. Boy, nasty. Guys, we're back at it again today, and we've got a phone call from the west side here of Lancaster about a Holley 4000 that needs to get into the hospital. Needs a little bit of work on it, so we're going to take a look at this thing. It's in a 1955 Ford Thunderbird that an owner is trying to put back on the road. I think he found this thing after it was his dad's for many years. His dad sold it, and this guy, some miraculous way, found where the Thunderbird was at, bought it, and now it's under kind of a full restoration, but he wants to keep everything as original as possible. So we're going to get going on this Holley 4000. All right, we got the carburetor here on some bolts so I can suspend it in the air and gives the linkage a little bit of a place to move while we disassemble. But this is a 55 Holley 4000, and yeah, ECJ, what is it, 9510. I'll read the rest of it later. It's got so much grease I can't see it, but the 55 models and 54 models had a divorced choke. The choke would sit on the intake manifold. So unlike what I run on my 55 here with the 56 teapot and intake manifold, and like this Lincoln carb I just got that has the choke on the side, you can see there, this is a little bit different model here. So we're going to disassemble this, and as we go, we'll take some notes on what we see so that we can rebuild this thing, get it cleaned up. It's leaking. Probably, I'd imagine what I could tell. I don't know if it's ever been opened up before. It might have back in the day. There could be some witness marks here and there, but we'll be able to tell pretty quickly. Okay, when I disassemble these carburetors, I like to get a real good look at what's going on here. This thing was running, but had a lot of leaks. And leaking around the plug here for the float, leaking from this gasket around the fuel bowl, which tells me that was probably needle and seat are worn out. Leaking over here where the accelerator pump is at as well. You can probably tell. I'm going to flip this over. You probably tell right there. A little shiny. You can tell it's leaking right there. And we're going to disassemble this thing entirely, put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, different parts, clean everything up. Make sure we're all back to specs. We do need to order one of these. This is the dash pot, anti-stall dash pot. If you have a original Ford-O-Matic, this would keep your carburetor from stalling when you decelerated quickly. So let's take this apart and get to it. A couple things I have here is just something to catch the small parts, maybe some sub-assemblies here in this stainless steel pan. This is going to go in my ultrasonic cleaner. So obviously you want to make sure that you document everything that you do. And as we go along here, I'll try to help you with, I think, what is this, 5/8? Yeah. Now this is important to the 55 model only, 55 model year only, the ECJs. You see this large washer. It's a part of this assembly here. And that is so that the air coming over top of this, as far as it being vented here, man, you can tell that's wet in there. Wow. The way it won't be fooling with when your secondaries are trying to open up. So, screwdriver, and take this apart and see what we have in here. I know I could use an electric screwdriver or something like that. I just like doing this by hand. I can easily tell if something's stripped, there's a problem anywhere, and I don't really end up roughhousing anything. Some of this pot metal can be pretty soft. Yeah, this thing's a nice little leaker. Now, one of the things to note about the secondary tubes, as opposed to how the 56s are almost straight up and down, not quite. These obviously take a little bit of a 90-degree turn. So what we're going to do is pull off this lid with the secondary tubes attached. That means I've got to take off this screw right here. . 'Cause Make sure you save everything. Keep track of it. Little bracket right there to keep secondary tubes on. So yeah, so those O-rings underneath of these washers here, and that's where these things were known to leak. And they changed them in 56 just to go almost straight up and down so that it wasn't too difficult. But we're going to pull this lid off, and I'm going to get a rubber mallet and just kind of tap lightly. Really don't want to do much prying unless you have to. Try to get this thing. Here we go. And let's see what's inside. This could be interesting. Gonna slide these secondary tubes out. You can tell how dirty that is. The top doesn't look too bad at all. Take our secondary tubes, slide them out. And the suckers are barely in there. I'll put those in ultrasonic cleaner too. It does look like this may have been rebuilt a time or two, at least once, because that does not, peening over does not look original. That's going to be interesting to get that out of there. Thankfully, I do have another one in stock. This one looks pretty, that looks pretty clean right there. I'm kind of surprised. That economizer valve is what it's called, but it feeds the secondaries. It's in good shape, but we're going to replace it anyway. Might as well if you're in here. Basically, I think this, after this screws out, I think these other nozzles are 5/16. Let's see here if I'm right or not. Nope. Yeah, I am. 5/16. Time to take these apart, we'll make sure nothing's bent, nothing's cattywampus. The way the economizer valve works, this plunger goes up against your power valve down there. It pulls enough vacuum. Vacuum drops. Pulls enough vacuum, it remains closed with this valve, and then vacuum drops. Call for more air and fuel, and then, yeah, that's kind of hard. So working okay, but we're gonna toss that one, and we'll pull these washers and O-rings out in just a minute. But let's get to this right here. Wow, that gasket's hard. Wow, been in there a while. All right, doesn't look too bad though. Looks like everything's intact. You can tell how much carbon, how much gunk is built up in there though. The tester float out too. I know when I tried to squirt this, I got just a little bit through the. You can tell the accelerator pump's working. I see that squirt. Just not coming through the nozzles very well. So let's keep going here. Float out next. There's a little pivot over here. It's the brass shaft. And of course, you have a spring down here. So it's in decent shape. And there's your needle. You do want to save that little clip. The clip's handy when you're working on these. Sometimes some kits, depending on how bad the kit is, it may not come with another clip, but I save it all the same. Yeah, it's pretty nasty in there. So let's get a close-up on that and get out my. You can see all the gunk. It's kind of swirling around in the bottom in there. But it's not too bad. I think if the thing's been kept wet, I think the car's ever run completely dry. You run a carb dry these days with ethanol fuel, it'll get all that white caked up filth everywhere. So, all right, let's go ahead and take out our plug. These plugs are known to leak pretty badly. Just to kind of show you, sometimes a little washer there, the neoprene washer doesn't seal too well because this right here will get a little bit distorted. And I like to use an O-ring when we work on these and put it all back together. We'll take out the seat now. 55s had a seat that was threaded and that screwed in. There are a number of 56 models that have the seat that's smooth bore and that spring kind of actually kept it together. Why they did it that way, I don't know why the changes were made, but needle and seat don't look necessarily too bad, but I don't have my glasses on, but that needle right there looks like it's got a little bit of wear, that biton tip, so I'm definitely going to replace that anyway. All right, let's go ahead and take our jets out. Let's see what size they are too. I do have a jet wrench. I probably should be using that, but it's all right. These are, when they're wet, they come out pretty easily. Should probably go ahead and get that fuel out of there too. It's probably not wise to be working on this. Thankfully, I don't smoke. We get these jets out of here and then we'll dump this fuel, but I think that says 55. Let me get my glasses on. I'm sorry. That says 50. You read that right there. That says 50. And that one the same, 50. A lot of times you're going to run ethanol fuel in these things. I like to run a little bit bigger jet. But anyway, let's go dump this fuel out real quick. All right, most fuel's out of here. One thing you got to remember, there is a needle that sits in here, secondaries and stuff. This has some wear on it. You can tell it's got a little ridge right there, but we're going to replace that, so we'll set that aside too. These things here can be very difficult to pull out, these nozzles. I've actually, you can tell right here, I've actually modified a set of needle nose pliers to see if I can get in there, because they are extremely tight, I've often found. I have to put the fuel bowl through a cycle in the ultrasonic cleaner, gets some heat and gets a lot of the juice around here. These nozzles come out a whole lot easier. The power valve out here. It's 43. I normally just clean the power valve. These things have, my understanding, no rubber pieces at all. They work pretty good. Obviously spring loaded here. All right, most of the fuel bowl, except for those nozzles, and we're going to run this through a cycle to try to loosen those suckers up. But we need to take off this small piece of hardware here. It has like a little shaft there that it goes through for the accelerator pump linkage. Get that out of there so we can pull out our accelerator pump rod. That pop up right there. Now you'll notice there's a washer down here. There's probably going to be a piece of felt in here that's meant to oil or lubricate, I guess I should say, the shaft. Sometimes these shafts are bent, they have problems. It always gets kind of interesting. Go ahead and pull this out right here. You can tell there's some, oh, I guess it just kind of popped off. But see that white chalky stuff? Boy, that's from, oh wow, look how bad the accelerator pump, look how bad the accelerator pump valve is. See how badly that's man, this should just pop right off right there. So wash that up too, throw that away. Continue to take this off. There we go. Spring right there. This is vented, by the way. That hole up there, that's vented for the fuel bowl's sake. And definitely want to clean this up really well. And you want to make sure that shaft is completely clean in the inside. All right, looking pretty good right here. Don't forget, I got this spring right here that keeps our washer, keeps this washer and that felt lubricator, I think. It's supposed to be right there. We'll see what pops up. There's the washer. I think it's just one washer sitting there. And it looks like it's missing, yeah. So it doesn't even have its lubricator felt. There's supposed to be like a washer sandwich. 2 washers, piece of felt right there to lubricate. That's not even around, so. All right, let's take off our fuel bowl. Now there's 2 main machine screws, this one here and this one here, that hold the fuel bowl, I guess kind of a air horn sandwich. The air horn's right here. Throttle body, fuel bowl, hold that down. So we'll go ahead and take out both of these screws. And boy, that was not very tight at all, kind of loose. It does help when the carburetor's wet, in my opinion. Still has that lock washer on there, so that's a good sign. Take off this screw. So far, I haven't seen anything that would say strip threads anywhere. Okay. Now, putting this back up, we ought to be able to take our rubber mallet here and just tap a little bit. See if we can't get this thing a little loose. And one thing you got to remember here, this fuel bowl, there is a brass shaft that really this runs up for the main feed into the fuel bowl. And that's how it goes up from the throttle body up here. So sometimes what you have to do, pry up a little bit here just to get it a little loose, kind of break it free, because there's an O-ring. Actually, it's 2 O-rings, but there's an O-ring in there. Kind of feel it. You just don't want to break anything. You see it kind of move now and twist a little bit. So there we go. I think I got it loose now. All right, and there we are. Boy, nasty. Don't forget, when you're disassembling this, you got to get your check ball and that keeper, that wire keeper, out of their board there. See it down there on the bottom for your accelerator pump. So let's get that out. Also, you want to remove that little small gasket. It's important too. Man, these gaskets are pretty hard and pretty old. It's been a while since this thing's been taken apart. Oh, wow, what's this? Look at this little gift. Hard little grommet here that goes right there, and that's for your hot air off the intake. We are going to be reinstalling that for this carburetor. I don't use it on the ones I run, but this original job, we're certainly going to be doing that. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and put the fuel bowl into the ultrasonic cleaner and see how this can clean up. I'm telling you, get that thing heated, get it running, stuff works miracles.